I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia when I was 24 years old. Everything swept away, knocked out from underneath me. And when bone marrow transplantation came into the picture, there was nowhere to turn that I was aware of.
When patients are diagnosed with a disease like leukemia, the question is, am I going to survive? And imagine what it's like for a parent when their child is diagnosed with leukemia or one of these diseases.
Transplant is a very scary place to go through, especially if you don't know what you're doing, how you're going to do it. You cannot go through transplant alone.
I was very interested in helping people who had lethal diseases. So after I finished my training, I established a bone marrow transplant program at Mount Sinai Hospital. And we were really lucky to recruit a young woman fresh out of social work school whose name was Christina Merrill.
I found a passion working with cancer patients and with children with cancer. It was so heartbreaking knowing that the possibility of a cure and a treatment was there for them, but all these other financial obstacles got in their way and they would be turned away and go home to basically die.
These are people who received a really devastating diagnosis and can't get well without one of the most profound medical interventions anybody can face. It's like if you were drowning in the ocean and there was actually a life-saving raft that you could climb into, but you had weights around your ankles. This is what people who don't have the financial means to support themselves through treatment are facing.
Christina realized that she can do more good for patients who require a transplant by forming a foundation.
25 years ago, I started the Bone Marrow Foundation, and just working with families really is what inspired me to start the organization.
And it's such a complicated area of medicine. For people to have a resource that they can turn to is life-saving.
I ended up having an amniocentesis test done when I was pregnant with Dream and discovered that she indeed did have sickle cell disease. I remember when she was in the ICU, clinging to life. The doctor said to me, "We have this opportunity to cure Dream." This transplant meant that she was going to walk into a complete new life.
My brother Ed was a pretty fierce guy. He happened to be visiting with us, and my sister-in-law knew something was really wrong with him. He was diagnosed the next day with ALL leukemia. I was his bone marrow donor during that process. Every day I went to that hospital and spent time with my brother, reading, talking. I saw that need.
We had a lot of hospitalizations. Dream would have to go through chemotherapy, radiation, isolation.
I had many months of treatment. My emotions were up and down.
It really is like ripples in a pond. There is the person that it's happening to, but it's affecting everyone around that person so strongly.
As I personally experienced, people have to stop working in order to have treatment.
Say a two-family income that's now down to one family income, or you have a one-family income that's down to zero.
The work that we do supports them whether they need their mortgage paid, they need caregivers, they need transportation.
The Bone Marrow Foundation is in a position to say, here, this is so you can pursue the medical cure that exists.
To have something like the Bone Marrow Foundation in place, I can't see us enduring what we had to endure without them being a part of our process.
My mom and me have gone through so much, but it was all worth it in the end because I was sickle cell free.
There's so many ways you can help patients undergoing bone marrow transplantation. One is you can be a donor, and if you're a donor, you can save another human being's life. The second is you can support the foundation financially, and also you can help save someone's life.
I think people that donate to the Bone Marrow Foundation are saving a life. They're giving to make sure that a family has an opportunity to see their child not only go through transplant, but survive it and be here to tell the story.
Be a Lifeline is our tagline, and Charlotte Moss, our incredible board member, came up with this tagline.
I was very honored when Christina asked me to be one of the very first members of the Bone Marrow Foundation Medical Advisory Board. And thinking back to all the patients that we've helped the past 25 years gives me an incredible sense of contribution and of gratitude.
I so admire Christina and the work that she's done because I saw the need for it personally.
I see Christina as someone relentlessly devoted to this cause. Reaching 25 years has to be an incredible milestone.
You have to understand just how difficult this is to sustain and continue to help people at the level that this foundation does.
Looking back over the years, I'm most proud of the fact that our reach is so broad. We are helping more families than ever before.
For me to have my daughter here, for me to be thinking about what does college look like for her, she's gonna live a life of freedom. I'm deeply grateful for that. One of the things that I've offered to Christina that they do is being able to be basically a mentor. The service is my way of paying it forward for other families.
I always feel my brother's presence. He'll always be there. This need will always be there. This is one way I can stay closer, is to help other people.
Seeing little children having their bone marrow transplant at 6 months and now they're 3 years old or they're 6 years old or they're 16 years old, it just keeps me going, and I want to do this for another 25 years.
So please, be a lifeline.
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 Be a lifeline.